The stream is live. All right. Hello and welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football podcast, brought to you by the good folks. You know what? I'm just going to say it in case he can absolutely describe them. The good folks at High Noon Hard Seltzer. Tell them how great it is there, Kayce.
It is fantastic. It is absolutely amazing. Everybody that listens to this podcast, watches this podcast, is joined on this live podcast for the first time ever, knows how much we love High Noon, the vodka, the tequila, the tall boys, the peach tall boys. They're available everywhere. And the new game day pack is officially out. I had my hands on it over the weekend when we were in Tuscaloosa. Go get some High Noon. If you're going to listen to this podcast now and later, you need 2 High Noons, however many High Noons you want. Why are you flexing? Go get High Noons. Drizzly, convenience stores, liquor stores, you know the drill.
Yes, we love High Noon.
High Noon's
the literal goats. And everybody that's in this live stream should be drinking some High Noon.
All right. Hello to Leland and Kevin Mitchell and Mega Billy and Derek J. and Blake Davis, who says my mic sounds like shit. Well, it's because I couldn't figure out how to plug it up. So it's just for appearances. And I'm just talking on the laptop. Hello to Freelance and Takuchi and Ben Callahan and all the guys, Jason Thompson, Dang Trojan, all of you, Dale Sigmund. We decided to do this live. Look at you, Jack. That looks beautiful. As a Louisville fan, I miss Big East football. That's fantastic, Jack. Thank you for doing that. So by the way, having a live audience for the first time ever is a little, it's not nerve-wracking because it's live, because we do things live all the time. It's that we never know what's going to happen on this podcast, and it does make me a little nervous. I love it. I love it. It reminds me of the Brandon Walker College Football Show. I'm ready to do it. I think this has been a long time coming. We're still going to do the reaction podcast on Saturday night. We're still going to do the preview podcast on Thursday, but this brings the fans to us and gives us a connection that we haven't had previously. So I love it. We're going 45 minutes tonight, right off the top. We're going 45 minutes. We're going to talk about our topics first, and then we're going to turn it over to you guys. We're going to let you tell us what you want to talk about. I'll read the comments. Did Katie get contacts? Says Matt O'Brien. Katie?
No, I was wearing glasses before, but then after I looked at last episode, the entire screen's reflecting. So fuck it.
All right. So
I think whatever lighting Katie has should follow her everywhere, because Katie is looking delicious right now, if I do say so myself.
We can't. The callers, see, we're still trying to figure out how to do the live stream. You think we can get callers in? We are not that high tech.
My mic doesn't even work. I don't know what you're doing, callers.
This is a boots on the ground podcast for right now, so it's just the callers may have to wait, but you never know.
I mean, you never know. I didn't even know that it was like also on YouTube. Like I'm that dumb when it comes to StreamYard. Like I remember doing StreamYard a ton in COVID with Jeff DeLoe on the dozen, and I don't know what we're doing. So let's just talk.
All right, let's go to it. So here's my topics for tonight. That's the wrong. Here's my topics for tonight. I have a lot of notebooks. When Walmart puts them on sale for 10 cents, I buy about 100 of them. Okay. We're going to talk about Mel Tucker and the fact that he is no longer going to be the coach at Michigan State. We're going to talk about the Week 3 slate, and it's going to be a 2-word sentence. We're going to talk about one of the topics is my favorite thing about college football this season. Everybody's got an answer to that. One team better than you thought they would be, one team worse, and then we turn it over to you guys. So Mel Tucker is no longer going to be the coach at Michigan State. It was a quick fall from grace. 2 years ago, he goes 11-2. He beats Michigan. Everything is fantastic. He gets $95 million. They're on top of the world last year. Garbage. This year looked like garbage. And then Saturday night, all hell breaks loose. We find out about allegations and investigations of sexual harassment and phone calls, and he gets fired over some phone pussy. Whatever. I don't know. Anyway, Mel Tucker no longer going to be the coach of Michigan State. And Jack, I'll just open it up to you real quick. This is going to get nasty. It's going to get messy. He said today that he's going to fight this thing. This is going to be an ugly, protracted, long divorce. It's going to be gross. It's going to be back and forth. And I assume you're here for all of it.
Yeah. I mean, my whole stance on Mel Tucker was never about him as a person. I really had no idea about him as a person. I thought he seemed pretty cool. This is obviously a very serious allegation. He's denying not that the situation happened, but that it was consensual. And obviously, I believe Michigan State is trying to have him fired for cause so he wouldn't get paid. So then we have 2 in the Big Ten now, Pat Fitzgerald. And then we also have, obviously now with Mel Tucker, I don't want to comment too much on it. It seemed like a lack of judgment from him, even if, like, doing that with someone that you're hired, and you're mixing pleasure with play and what, or not pleasure in business. That being said, I mean, this has been, you tweeted it out, one of the quickest falls from graces from a football perspective, because it wasn't like he was going 11-1 last year, and I also would have, like, let's say he went 10-2 last year again. I wonder how Michigan State would have handled this. Not that they're a bad university, but I don't know if they would have pulled the plug as fast as they did. And also, we should make sure to note, like, this has been ongoing as an investigation within Michigan State for, I think, 6 months now, since March 20th or so.
That's the part, Jack, that is so confusing to me. And I know these things take a long time. And just because you have allegations in any type, any form or fashion, you can't just make a decision right away. But if this is all true, and it, like you said, serious allegations, talking about Mel Tucker, the coach, and Mel Tucker, the person, and, whether you believe that it was consensual or not, like, how do people not find out about it? Because it's obviously an investigation that people are going to be looking into closely. And then B, the people that are doing the investigating, not feeling like, kind of like, I guess the word is icky, that this is going on, and they're just acting like it's not until something comes out. It's very bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's all weird. Now, you mentioned Pat Fitzgerald. I think Pat Fitzgerald got fired for the media fallout from his allegations and not the actual allegations from themselves. And now Mel Tucker, it does seem like as soon as these things get leaked to the media, it's only a matter of time before the switch gets pulled. But whatever, we'll see. The bottom line is they're going to figure it out in a courtroom or a settlement somewhere along the way, probably in the next year or two. But he's not going to be the coach of Michigan State anymore. Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, he was on top of the world. Now he is in the legal system trying to figure out how to get his money.
Brandon, do you see a world that he could be a head coach at a major program ever again?
Well,
yes.
Outside, yeah, I do. I see a path to it, but that path includes the complainant saying it, or them finding out that there's nothing to it. There's no law that says, or that could happen. I don't know if it'll happen, but that could happen. So if it comes out that this was all a bunch of baloney, yeah, he would be a head coach again.
I think the issue is, we talked a little bit about it on Saturday night when it broke, is not only the allegations and the potential seriousness of it, it's the fact, like, the lack of judgment. First of all, if he did that and it was non-consensual regardless, but the fact that it's Brenda Tracy, who is she is like the advocate for this type of situation.
So
raising two hands.
Mine's goofy. Is yours goofy?
No, mine's let's save the goofy for after this. We should mention the state, or the Michigan State University, because this was a Title IX investigation. The president and whatnot did not know about this until I think it was leaked to the media, because it's supposed to be separate from everything. So it was a quick decision from them. And I think USA Today was the one that was supposed to drop it. ESPN got the scoop right before them. That's why it came out on midnight on Saturday. I'm watching Sean Strickland win the belt. Shout out Sean Strickland, leader of the free world. And then Sean Strickland wins the belt. And I looked down on my phone, and it's like, what's going on with Mel Tucker? USA Today was going to release it on Sunday. I'm sure Michigan State was told about it. They were asked for comments, and it was one of those, we're releasing 24 hours. ESPN jumped them and put it out, and that's how everything went down. And crazy.
The number one thing is 2023. So many people text nowadays and send pictures and Snapchat. I did not know phone sex was still a thing. That's just me.
What, have you been married for like 100 years? Of course it's still a thing.
No. Kayce, it was literal phone, like on the phone like this.
Oh, you're saying like conversationally?
Yeah.
Like
it was like this for 36 minutes. It was 36 minutes long.
It's still a thing.
So phone sex is still a thing, really?
Well, obviously.
I mean, FaceTime more so.
Yeah. Okay. That I didn't want to get, like, FaceTime is. Consider it?
Well, I've never gotten pussy in my entire life, according to Kelly Keeg, so I can't talk about this. Sorry.
$95 million, throwing away $95 million for a piece of phone pussy is going to be something.
I just the phone sex aspect of it is, and it's also just like, you're seeing a lot of people now being like, well, why couldn't she just hang up? And it's like, okay, well, there's more to it than just that. So it's going to be picked apart. Jack, just a side note on that is not a rivalry I ever expected between you and Kelly Keegs. That threw me off a little bit, I have to tell you.
Hey, never know.
Does Keegs know you're kind of a dog? Does she know that you're kind of?
No, I think no. But you know what? Hey, this isn't the place for me to discuss my sexual.
Agreed.
You're right. But the bigger picture, Michigan State without a head coach.
Yep.
And
now, wait a minute. I'm not so sure Mel Tucker not being the coach is bigger than Jack Mack versus Kelly Keegs. I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But that's just me. All right.
You know what? There are probably a lot of people that agree with you, Brandon.
Katie, go ahead, and then I'm going to topic 2.
Maybe this is me. I haven't been around, but that was also 2 Brett McMurphy L's. He first reported he was fired, then he said that he was suspended with pay, and then both of them turned out to be wrong. I know, like, he hasn't gotten 2 things wrong back to back. Like, he said everyone was reporting the wrong thing because he just came out.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, the motherfucker ain't going to coach Michigan State no more.
Yes, but like everyone was thrown off.
I think it was just that was a tough situation. There was probably a lot of moving parts, and also I think it went from I bet he was fired at one point, and then the lawyers at Michigan State said, "Hey, guys, we have a contract dispute here we have to figure out, so let's suspend him without pay."
Yeah.
All right. Topic 2. I complained a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of people said, "Shut up, college football's back. Don't complain." You shut up, okay? You shut up. Anyway, week 2 gave us some good games. Week 2 gave us a couple of matchups that were good and fantastic, and then the NFL came back, and it gave us some good matchups. Week 3 of the 2023 college football season might be the worst slate of games I've ever seen in my entire life. The marquee games, what are we talking about? Tennessee, Florida. By the way, I think Florida might be a problem.
Don't do it. Don't do that to yourself.
No, I might.
No.
Florida might be a problem for Tennessee.
No.
Furman was, or whoever, not Furman. Austin Peay was a problem for him. Anyway, that LSU, Mississippi State, that shouldn't be a marquee game. Missouri, Kansas State, that shouldn't be a marquee game. Week 3 sucks.
It sucks, and we saw, the information come out, like we talked about on Saturday as well. College game day is going to be at Colorado State. Big noon kickoff is going to be there. It makes sense because of the Dion pop, but even so, Colorado State, like if there were big time matchups that weekend, like if there was a Texas, Alabama, if there was an LSU, Florida State, they would say, hey, you know what? Dion's a big deal, but we're going to wait until there's a better game to go to Boulder. But they're like, this slate sucks. And we've got Dion, so let's just have that safe. Like if they didn't go to Boulder, where would they go?
All right, we're nowhere. Well, we're going to bring the fans in a little bit. So Jack will give us your comments in a little bit. So stay with us over there. Now let's do some topics right here. Answer this question. My favorite thing about college football this year, I will go first because I've learned when I don't go first, Katie or Jack or both steal my topic. So I'm going to go first. Because I'm a selfish piece of shit. All right.
At least you admit it.
My favorite thing about college football this year, so far in 2023, is the fact that college football is once again a national sport. For 15 years or so, it's, for the most part, been a sport that was about a 200-mile stretch in the southeastern part of the United States. And that's still a key part. The SEC is still good. But I'm not sure the SEC is still the best conference. I think the SEC has taken a step down. And frankly, it's high time. Remember the best game we can ever remember, Texas USC. I think that's the last time I can remember that Rose Bowl, the sport truly being a national sport. Now, if you look across this country, USC has risen up to top 10 caliber. Washington is with them out there in the West. Oregon is good. Oregon's been good, but USC and Washington really haven't. Notre Dame, I think, is as good this year as they've been in many years. Florida State is back. Colorado, obviously, is one of the topics of conversation all year. There are good teams across this country. In Alabama, Texas, I can't forget them. Alabama has sunk down a little bit. LSU has sunk down a little bit. And we'll find out about Georgia later. But to me, this is the most wide open nationally this sport has been in over a decade. And I think that's great for the sport. That's my favorite thing so far about 2023 college football. Kayce Smith, what is your favorite thing about college football in 2023?
I would have to say that it's all the different star power quarterbacks that we have that aren't just in the SEC. Every year, at least as of late, it feels like, you've got the SEC, you've always got, the Ohio State, you've maybe got like a big time name in the ACC, like at Clemson, and then maybe somebody out West. This year, and we talk about the Pac-12, like there are 4 or 5 guys in the Pac-12 alone that can be superstars for this sport. And then you look across the country and you look in the Big Ten and you look in the ACC and the Big 12. And in fact, it's the weirdest thing as of right now going into week 3. I think the SEC has the least amount of like big time star popping names at quarterback, which is, we're not used to that. I love that we're looking at a crop of quarterbacks that within the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to see popping up early in the NFL draft. It's like, you look at even like a few years ago, it was like just kind of like, okay, there's 1 or 2 guys. Now we have got so many must-watch quarterbacks across the country, and I think that's great. It's great for the sport, and it goes like what you said. It's more of a national thing, not just like, oh, I'm watching Trevor Lawrence and, like Tua Tagovailoa. Like I'm watching all of these guys play.
All right. On what used to be the Barstool Sportsbook, Kayce Smith's first take was minus 5,000 to be Deion Sanders in Colorado. So we have had an upset already.
What?
On the sportsbook. I don't know how to explain it.
Well,
I thought you were going to talk about Deion is what I'm trying to say.
You know that like first of all, I anticipate that you think that, but also that like I like other things other than just Colorado and Deion.
Jack Mack. First of all, Jack, thank you, John Ross Turner, you sweet son of a bitch.
The guy, I didn't see the name of the comment before. I apologize, saying the Heisman's going to be electric this year or whatever it was. It is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's going to be great.
That's fine. Here's the thing, Jack, and this isn't a big deal. This isn't a big deal at all.
You want me to move you?
Based on
yeah, no, that's fair.
No, Jack, no. Based on what I'm looking at, you're in the top left, and then Katie's over there, and then Katie's right beside me, and I'm just in the bottom left. Like I'm just saying, I don't want you to move me, but can we think about this for next time? That's all.
Okay.
Isn't that because you got on last? I'm going to
try for the next time. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. That was my fault.
Okay. All right. Notice you also put yourself in the number 1 spot. Okay.
No.
Everybody chill out.
That's not how it works, Brandon. I
don't
even
know how it works. Jack.
I just, okay. By the way,
let me set it up. Jack. What's your favorite part of college football in 2023?
Okay. First of all, before we continue, we got 1,000 people in here right now. Please like the stream. If you're not subscribed, and also thank you. This is great. We love you. Here's the thing. My favorite thing, and I'm taking it from Kayce. I just think college football having the number 1 story in sports is really fun.
Yeah.
I know it's fun to be the sport that not that nobody's ever cared about college football. It's number 2 sport in America, but it is fun having college football as having the biggest sport. And even looking at their schedule right now, next weekend against Oregon is going to be crazy. Like I was so wrong. And that's another thing that I really like about it. I'm very happy. I was so wrong about Colorado. This is so much fun. And I'll tell you what my favorite thing is JMU. I just do not care about JMU. Ebo just is in the chat right now. He said, did I miss the JMU lead-in? We have not talked about JMU once this entire
no. He just got here. We talked about him for like 10 minutes.
It's also so weird to see Ebo's like full name spelled out still.
Can I say something about JMU? Kind of a dick move for them to beat Virginia on the day they were honoring those 3 players.
Yeah, you gotta let them win that one. You gotta let them have that one.
All right, Jack. Well, a good observation by you, and frankly, Kayce kind of dropped the ball there because Colorado obviously is the biggest story. Kind of embarrassing on your part, Kayce.
I know exactly. You're gaslighting right now. You're gaslighting.
I got gaslit today.
I don't know what gaslighting means, and you know I don't know what it means. Katie, what's her name? Katie Stats, go.
Kind of piggybacking off what Jack said, this is like always for college football, and maybe this is like, I kind of like being wrong. Like, I feel like I don't take it personally because if we go into every single, also I'm not gambling, so like make that different. If you go in and you say every single thing's going to happen, nothing's going to be upsetting, nothing's going to change your mind. Like, yes, I didn't see Colorado coming. Neither did anyone else. I'm okay with that. I'm excited for the rule being broken. Kayce, okay.
I'm kidding. I'm yes.
No one saw it at this level.
No, for sure not. For sure not.
Yes, Brandon.
Let's pump the brakes a little.
Stop it.
They're a great story so far.
That's what you asked for so far.
So far. And they doubled their win total from last year. They're a great story so far. But let's let's get through the middle of September and see where we're at. That's all.
But to Katie's point, just in general, not just about Colorado, it's like if you and I we've all done it on the podcast multiple times throughout all the years that we've done this. When you're wrong about a take and you're so staunchly wrong and you see the opposite, but it's like a fun thing to be wrong about that, like Texas being good.
I wouldn't know. I haven't been wrong yet, so I wouldn't know what it's like to be wrong about a take. So I'm glad that you guys have experienced that, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy being wrong. I haven't had that opportunity yet. We've been doing this show, 4 or 5 years, and I haven't been wrong yet. 5 years. So hopefully when I am wrong, I'll be able to deal with it. I don't know.
You're so full of shit, one. But two, it's not fun being wrong. It's fun when the things that you were wrong about are entertaining. Because it's never fun to be wrong. You don't want to be the person that like everybody's dunking on, like, look at you, you're an asshole. It's more of like, if you were wrong about something that's an entertaining part of the sport, then at least you can have fun with it.
All right.
I'm more surprised. Like surprised when I'm wrong, not disappointed. Like,
okay. Here we go. Everybody was assigned to bring one team that has been better or that is better than they thought they would be. Has everybody brought that team?
yes.
Okay, fantastic.
I thought that was rhetorical.
Jack, you will go first.
I mean, it's Colorado.
Okay, I almost should have said, yeah, like Colorado.
All right, outside of Colorado.
Yeah.
Florida State, like I think Florida State, I thought was a top 15, top 10 team, and they look like they're a national title contender, and I was wrong about them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kayce Smith, who's a team that's better than you thought they would be?
I think I'm going to have to say Texas, but I had them picked to win the Big 12, but I did not think them being the top of the Big 12 would mean that they would go into Tuscaloosa and win the way that they did. I guess I don't know if that's more of a testament to that Alabama is worse than I thought they would be, but I mean, it has to be Texas because I mean, I did the whole spiel in Tuscaloosa, like win the Big 12, but that doesn't hold a candle to the SEC. And I looked like an asshole because they went out and won by 10.
Katie Stats, who's a team that's better than you thought they would be?
Texas. I thought they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be this good. So I'll get on that.
It's tough for me because I saw Texas coming. I have them in the playoff. I saw Florida State coming. I had them in the playoff. You know, I saw how many teams I have in the playoff? I had 12 teams in the playoff.
Which tweet are you counting?
Whichever ones I'm going to
counting all of them, Katie. That's the problem.
Mix and match later.
He's counting every single, like you had Michigan State in the playoff technically.
I thought Notre Dame would be good, but I think they're better than I thought they would be. I think Notre Dame is good.
Oh, that's a good answer too.
I think Notre Dame is fantastic, and they haven't played really anybody. But I mean, at NC State is not. I mean, it's not home against ECU. It's not home against whoever Georgia's been playing. At NC State is at least something that you got to plan for, and you got to go out there and execute. And they went and beat the shit out of. They have a quarterback now. They have a great running back. They have a good defense, and they're going to give Ohio State fits in a couple weeks. And that's the biggest early game of the year. That week 4 is incredible. That's the biggest early game of the year, and I think Notre Dame is fantastic. Oh, somebody said one in the chat, and I got to give him credit. I said Cincinnati was going to be the worst team in the Big 12, and they're pretty good.
Okay, here's another one that I mean I don't know exactly where we all stood for sure, but Duke. I mean, I don't know if anybody.
I was a fan of Duke.
I had Duke being the most disappointing team in the Big 12. Actually, they play in the ACC now. I had Duke being the most disappointing team in the ACC. Oh my!
Whoa!
Look at that!
You saw that?
Top billing for the Mr. Walker.
Wow, that was some big.
That was some fucking tech guy shit right there.
I just went full tech.
All right, let's go with one team who is worse this year than you thought, and I will go first. And frankly, I'm going to pick.
Chat, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Chat. Can you hear us?
Did we leave?
They can't hear us?
No. I pressed the button.
I think they're being dicks.
Yeah, they could
be.
We're
back.
Yeah, I think they're being.
I'm not reading the chat because I don't know how to do both at the same time. I feel like
I got the chat. Yo, chat. Shout out the chat.
Where would I see?
I got the chat. It's on the right on comments.
Oh, yeah. I was on private chat.
Yeah, you're so.
Oh yeah.
I was on private chat.
Like, damn, why is nobody talking about it?
Everybody, we got. It's already 55. We're getting out of here at 15, so we got 4 more minutes, and then we're gonna get to the chat and let them take over the show. Okay, one team who is worse than you thought they'd be this year. I'm picking a 2-0 team right here, by the way. I don't think Utah's all that good. Utah beat Florida, who's trash. Utah went and beat Baylor and trailed that entire game, and Baylor needed a huge collapse to lose that game. Without Cam Rising, and they won't tell us how long he's out, and I don't know how long he's out. When he comes back, maybe we'll talk. But with those backup quarterbacks, I don't think Utah is very good. And somebody says Clemson, I thought they would not be all that good. So, no, that one doesn't count. But I don't think Utah is all that good. When you talk about the Pac-12 contenders, I think USC's better. I think Washington's better. Oregon's better. Colorado's certainly in the conversation now, and Oregon State's better. Like, I don't think they're one of the top 4 or 5, maybe 5, but they're not one of the top 4 contenders in the Pac-12. Kayce, who's worse than you thought?
Alabama. I know that's like it's just doing the opposite of what I just did for Texas, but I thought they would win that game. And I think it's maybe more of like a microcosm of their quarterback situation being worse than I thought it would be, because I thought with having multiple guys from Nick Saban to choose from, that surely whoever he chose to start against Texas would not be what we saw from Jalen Milroe. And it's not just Jalen Milroe's fault. There's a lot of other things that went on. But I think that situation is much worse than I anticipated, because we've seen them, you talk about star power quarterbacks. They've had those guys recently, but before that, before Tua, it was guys, and not just before Tua, but you had guys that could just run the system, just game managers. They could go out and win national championships and it didn't matter, but all the talent around them was so much better. So I think I was wrong about Alabama's quarterback room being good.
All right. Jack, who's worse?
Got to go with my national champion pick, Clemson. They are just awful.
The haters are saying you don't know ball.
Yeah, but here's the thing. When I initially said that about Clemson, I was told I know ball. So it's like, it's
crazy. The ball knowing can go and come real quick.
It can really go and
That's
come.
what balls do. They go and they come real quick.
Oh, God.
They
do.
That was funny.
All right. Katie.
I also had Utah, but I'm going to also kind of add UNC in there. Maybe it's chalk, but I got excited after South Carolina, had a little grain of salt, and then App State, just like, you know what? It's the same old. Keep your expectations in the dirt. You're not going to have a happy season.
All right. Very quick takes, and then I'm going to turn it over to the chat. Okay. Alabama's going to be fine. I think they're going to go 11-1 now. They lost to a really good team. Texas is really fucking good.
Texas is very good.
Texas A&M. I'm going to say it right now. Watch this. I think Texas A&M wins 9 games. I think the overreaction to A&M going to Miami and losing. Miami is not a bad football team.
No, they're not. But the defense is so bad.
No, against Miami, it was. I don't think you're going to face quarterbacks the caliber of Tyler Van Dyke every week in the SEC. I think once you get in the SEC, you're going to be fine. I would say 8, maybe 9. That's a crazy take because people think, oh, Texas A&M, same old, this and that. I think Texas A&M is a pretty good team. Well,
by the way, a couple years ago, A&M being 8-4 was a joke. Like you would see the 8-4 on the either side of the T for the logo. So but I do feel a lot calmer about the situation than I did on Saturday, mostly because the entire SEC West is just like a gigantic question mark. There's not been a team. And I know
truly think anybody could win the West. I think Alabama will win it, but I think it's going to be a slobber knocker all year.
It's just such a like who the fuck knows type of situation right now. But I saw one of the comments come through. And by the way, this Charles, I always got to talk about A&M. I didn't bring up A&M.
I brought A&M up.
I know. People are like, she's always got to talk about A&M. I didn't bring
they're whiny bitches. They say that about that. Y'all always talk about the SEC. No, we really don't. And she doesn't always talk about A&M. I brought A&M up.
Thank you, Brandon.
Is Kayce the worst? Yes. Not for that.
No, but I saw one comment that I completely agreed with is Texas is winning in the trenches. And we talked about that in the reaction podcast on Saturday, because it's true. That was the biggest difference, was that on offensive and defensive line, Texas was able to stand up to the big bad SEC Alabama lines. And you haven't seen that a lot. Usually when you get to the playoff, you see these Big 12 teams not be able to do that. And they did. And that was the difference maker in that game.
One more take, and I'm reminded of it by the chat. But South Carolina fans, if your head coach is currently on Twitter going back and forth with Big Game Boomer, you might have the wrong coach. Listen, you can't have your head coach going back and forth with Big Game Boomer on Twitter. That's for me's of the world. Brandon Walker can go back and forth with Big Game Boomer. Shane Beamer can't. Okay.
But
All right.
Brandon, if you
What?
were a head coach, you would be going back and forth with everybody.
If I was a
too.
head coach, I would be the most hated son of a bitch in the country. I would
What's
be
different now?
absolutely. I would at least. I wouldn't take a shit on somebody's logo at the 50-yard line, but I would act like I would mind taking a shit on the logo at the 50-yard line. Like if I was Steve Sarkisian, I would have squatted on the Alabama logo the other night and at least looked like I was shitting.
You are
Did
disgusting.
you see the Alabama fans mad at Texas because they went after the game and did a dent? Like they didn't even really sell. They were mad that Texas players were walking across the logo.
They were just walking on it. They were meeting the Alabama players.
This guy tweeted out, "Wait until you see all the videos I have." It wasn't
videos
just
this guy.
players.
It wasn't a player.
It was players like
It
relatively.
No. It wasn't a guy that tweeted it out. It was a former player that tweeted it out. It was one of these guys saying, "Back in my day, we wouldn't allow that shit." I can't remember who it was, but it was a former player.
Just for walking across the logo.
Also, the Alabama logo is huge on that field. It's the biggest logo of all time. It's like
What are you supposed to do? Walk around it?
Speaking of Alabama videos after the Texas game, there's a couple out there that aren't great.
I mean, I want to make if that's a real video and there's no editing there, that's not a great video. No, and it's also an awful insult. It's not even like what an awful thing to say. Like not even
It's not clever, is what you're saying.
It's not clever. It's like not even funny. It's not even close to.
Thank you, Kevin Hickman. It was George Teague, the former Alabama defensive back, that was tweeting that stuff.
I was expecting somebody to come down with a flag and
like a Baker Mayfield moment. Yeah. Which, by the way, when Baker did that, that was awesome. We all loved it. So it's like
I didn't love that.
They should have planted it. They could have planted the flag.
I think Bevo should have gone out there and just taken out a couple of Alabama cheerleaders, male ones.
Oh, that's nice of you to say male.
Thanks. Okay. Here we go. It's now the chat's turn. So, Jack, how are we going to do this? Do I just read them or you want to pull them and we react?
Just say, all right, it's chat question time and then react to the ones pulled up on the screen.
All right, chat, it's your turn. We're about to answer your questions for the next 15 minutes. Chat, go. Give me your questions. Give us your questions.
I love this. Live audience.
Jack, when you see one, pull it out. Is Washington really that good? I believe they are. I had them right near the playoff. I might have even had them in the playoff at one point. But I think Washington's fantastic. I think they're my best team in the Pac-12. I know a lot of people like USC, but Washington is so balanced. And USC's been great defensively the last 2 weeks against bad teams. But I like Washington a whole lot. I think they're a national title contender.
I have Washington at number 9 in my top 10. I think that, when you talk about the Pac-12, these offenses are going to be a lot of trouble, and it's going to come down to which defense, of these teams is going to be able to stop a star-powered quarterback, and Washington looks like they have that on both sides of the ball.
Okay, first of all, before I go any further, that question, somebody says, Brandon, why do you own that shirt? I'm sorry. Are you saying my Back to the Future 3 shirt with the DeLorean getting pushed by the train is a bad shirt? No, that's an elite shirt, okay? So shut up, huh? Shut up. What's more likely, says Michael Hostetter, Ohio State or Alabama goes 9-3?
I think Alabama.
I think neither is likely at all.
Well, you have to pick one.
I'm having trouble getting to I think it's easier to get to 3 losses on Alabama's schedule than it is on Ohio State's schedule. Ohio State would have to lose to Notre Dame, Michigan, and Penn State. Well, that's 3 really good-ass teams.
I mean, that's not a crazy thought, but I think that from what
Alabama, who already has a loss, would need to lose to LSU. Neither is going to happen. Ohio State's not going to go 9-3. Alabama's not going to go 9-3. The more likely scenario would be Ohio State. Because
I don't think so.
I think Alabama's a lot better than LSU. I think Alabama's better than every team they're going to play from here on out outside of Georgia in the championship game. And Ohio State plays 3 national title contenders, 2 of them away from home. So Ohio State is more likely, but they're not going to go 9-3. All right, give me another one. How do we feel about Auburn? Probably the biggest piece of shit program in the country, and Hugh Freeze is an asshole.
This is where we go back and forth, and every time we talk about Auburn, we have to remember when Brandon speaks, he's speaking about Hugh Freeze, not just Auburn.
Whoa.
Whoa, Kayce, he hated Auburn way before
Way before Hugh Freeze.
That's true, but he also thinks that they're going to be way worse now because of Hugh Freeze. Like Auburn has not shown us that they're
it's
that
the
bad.
most perfect union between program and coach we have in this country. Auburn, pieces of shit. Hugh Freeze, piece of shit. Perfect marriage, just a big old shit sandwich.
You have been so graphic about poop tonight that I'm disgusted.
I have said poop a lot, haven't I?
You've talked about taking a shit on a logo.
I
Brent.
will say, I'll say it publicly. I think Auburn's win on Saturday night was impressive. The offense needs to figure it out, but I think the defense, I think Auburn's a decent team, but the SEC schedule is going to tell them everything we need to know about them, and that's where they stand.
Especially with everything that we've said over and over and over about the SEC West. Like
is Miami a playoff contender? Maybe.
They're definitely an ACC contender, which
listen,
by default make them.
Listen, are they as good as Florida State? I don't think so. Are they as good as Clemson?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they might be.
Well, Tyler Van Dyke is better than Cade Klubnik right now.
Yeah, but Clemson, probably not. Miami's probably a year away from being a playoff contender, but hell, they could be. Could they be the second best team in the ACC? Answer that question. I think the answer to that is yes, they could be.
I think so. I mean, I think Florida State is the best. I think that they have, they're more balanced. And again, it's such a chalk thing to talk about. But if you've got a better quarterback, normally you're in a better spot. And I think Jordan Travis is the best quarterback in the ACC. So I'm definitely.
I guess, yeah.
Well, Drake May too.
Yeah. Drew Aller, the best QB in the Big Ten. I think I'm the only person here who believes that. Kayce, who's the best QB in the Big Ten?
I don't think that you're the only person that believes that, for the rest of time. If you tell me at the end of the season, Drew Aller was better than JJ McCarthy or,
Kayce, who's the best quarterback in the Big Ten?
I think JJ McCarthy right now.
Right. He's not. It is Drew Aller. Drew Aller is the best quarterback in the Big Ten. It's hot take Monday. Brandon's coming with it, okay?
Okay, at least you admit that's a hot take.
Huh?
At least you admit that's a hot take.
Not a hot take.
It is a hot take.
Not a hot take at all.
He's played 2 games.
It's my take, and I'm hot. That's what makes it a hot take.
Okay, there you go. He's played 2 games. I'm not trying to downplay him, and Penn State has looked really good. But I don't think that you can say he's better than a quarterback that got his team, along with everybody else, to the college football playoffs.
That's a 3-spray opinion right there.
Okay.
All right, Jack. Could Cincinnati upset Oklahoma? Frankly, I don't care what they're ranked. I'm not sure it would be an upset. Oklahoma's not very good. Oklahoma struggle with SMU. Could Cincinnati beat Oklahoma? Yeah, they could. Will they? I don't know. Who do you want on your team? Says Giant Raid in Night. Okay. Caleb Williams, Shadur Sanders. I'm sorry, that's Shadur Sanders. Drake May or Quinn Ewers?
God.
I would go Caleb Williams. Then I think I go Quinn Ewers 2, Shadur 3, and Drake May 4, huh? Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Jack just 4 great quarterbacks, 4 incredible quarterbacks. So you can't go wrong. But Caleb Williams did win the Heisman Trophy for the best quarterback in the country last year.
Yeah, I think you got to take Caleb.
I'm going with Caleb just because he's.
Is Colorado this year's TCU/Kansas? I don't understand the question. Why is Kansas in there? Kansas won 6 games last year. Are you just saying big-time surprise teams? I don't know. Are they this year's TCU? I think their conference is too good for them to be this year's TCU. TCU's conference last year was trash. That's what allowed them to do what they did.
If Colorado does what TCU did in the Pac-12, like if TCU with the Big 12, Colorado with the Pac-12, that would mean that they beat like 4 or 5 incredible teams.
All right, go ahead, Jack. Who's talking? Okay.
When will we start respecting Bo Nix?
All right, we're gonna go rapid fire with these questions. I think everybody respects Bo Nix. I think the old adage of him not getting respect is a bullshit. He's good. People know he's good. So why do we have to say that? Who wins the Big Ten West? A mediocre team. I'm going to go with the Iowa Hawkeyes.
I still think it's Wisconsin.
Can the ACC get 2 teams in the playoffs?
I don't think any conference gets 2 teams in the playoffs this year.
And if I think there is a conference that could do that. I think it's the Big Ten, and I don't think the ACC is a conference that can do that. The Big Ten is the only conference that's going to have strong enough leverage at the end, I think, to do it.
And I don't think they'll do it because they did it last year. because there is that politics in there.
Who will give Arkansas their first loss?
A&M,
First decent team that plays them, I guess.
Texas A&M.
Yep. Continue.
Sorry, this is harder than I thought.
That's all right. That's what she said. All right. What? That's funny. I'm sorry.
It's funny. I'm not saying. I'm just saying you're on one.
Can Mississippi State get 9 wins? Of course we can get 9 wins, Luke Christensen. Yes, we can get 9 wins. My God, we can get 9. We'll have 9 wins by the end of October. Early Heisman finalist. Shedeur Sanders is very much in the mix. Quinn Ewers is very much in the mix. Caleb Williams is in the mix. I think those are the 3 that have stood out the most so far. Oh, Jordan Travis, I would say, would have to be in that. Continue. I could just read them if you'd like, if it is too hard. Is topwater bass fishing the best thing in the world? Yes. Who does MSU hire to replace Tucker? Well, I think we're too early in this process. I certainly, if I'm Duke, I'm starting to play defense on Mike Elko like tomorrow. The second best team in the SEC is Alabama. That's an easy answer. Georgia's probably the best still. Alabama, I know they got beat by Texas, but they're still really good. Alabama
and Texas is very good. So they got beat by a very good team.
Very good, but I'm not throwing away Alabama. Like last week, LSU lost Florida State, and I did throw them away, but I threw them away before because I knew they were overrated. Is Caleb the GOAT with a Heisman and Natty this year? I think he certainly enters the conversation. He would be only the second player ever to win 2 Heismans, and he would have a national championship. Yeah, Caleb Williams would enter some GOAT conversations if he did that. I think that's a tall order, but yeah.
And if he did do that, like it would be very easy to just like that argument is set because like all you'd have to say is the guy won 2 Heismans and won a national title. Like you can't argue otherwise.
Is the Pac-12 the best conference? No, I don't think so. But I think it's in the mix with the Big Ten, and the SEC for that conversation.
I think that there's more good teams in the Pac-12 than in the SEC.
There was just a really good one that
I won't commit to that, but I don't hate the opinion. Well,
if we're talking about Alabama, which I mean, again, they did lose to a very good Texas team, but if we're talking about them being the second best team in the conference behind Georgia, who is the obvious with the, back to back, but in the Pac-12, we're looking at, depending on who you talk to, USC, Oregon, Washington, Colorado. People like Oregon State. You said Utah, but like
I can't put Colorado in that conversation yet, but Texas might be able to beat all those teams just like they beat Alabama. So I don't know. Hey, Casey, how's Billy Lucci? What am I reading? Does the SEC have any QBs in the top 20 nationally? Top 20? Yeah, probably. And we'll find out about Carson Beck, and we'll find out about guys.
Joe Milton, maybe?
I mean, KJ Jefferson's in the top 20. Who'd you say? Joe Milton? He was trash the other day. He was not good. Hey, BFW, when will you respect JJ? Whenever you bitches stop being sensitive-ass pussies, Joey Sherps. What have I said about JJ? I've said you overrate him a little bit. He is a top 15 quarterback in the country. He's very solid, and that should be enough. That's enough to get to the playoff. Should be enough to win a game. But you guys want to call him the top 5 quarterback in the country. He's not that. JJ McCarthy is not that. Not saying he's not good. I'm saying he isn't where you guys rate him. Thoughts on JJ McCarthy? Goddamn. Thoughts on JJ McCarthy so far? I know Michigan hasn't played anybody, but he's 48-55 on the season. Yeah, he hasn't played anybody. He hasn't had to make one difficult throw all season. So, no, we'll get to him in like November when Michigan plays a team. Is UNC a playoff contender? Not in football. Nope. Not. They are not.
Kate not is like, absolutely not. Nope.
They are very much not. Sorry, but they're not. 2 more minutes, and then we'll get out of here, Jack. Is that enough? Is that good?
Yes.
All right. Keep me going for OU will start 5-0. Maybe. I don't know. They look so trash against SMU. Will ND beat Ohio State? Maybe. Best game for the remainder of the season. Notre Dame, Ohio State, probably.
Yeah, that's – Michigan, Ohio State's up there.
Michigan, Ohio State.
USC, Washington's big.
Florida State.
Is USC playing Oregon in the regular season?
I don't know if they're playing Oregon off the top of my head. I know they play Washington. I believe they will play Washington at home.
I know we're not going to say Colorado's the best, but Colorado, Oregon, and Colorado USC coming up are pretty.
I don't know if they'll be the best games, but I know they might be the most watched games of the year. If Colorado beats Oregon and comes home to play USC, it might break records. It might be the most watched game in the last 50 years. But South Carolina beat Georgia, not in football. What the fuck kind of question is that? No, they barely beat Furman. Furman,
unless like Spencer Rattler all of a sudden decides to be like the best quarterback of all time, which
all undefeated Power 5 champs who gets left out of playoffs. Not going to happen. It's impossible. It's a lot harder to go undefeated in football than we act like it is. There will not be 5 undefeated teams at the end of this year. Not even gonna dignify that. Next,
I just saw one that's like, I'm new here. Does Kayce like Colorado? Guys, that narrative is played out. The entire fucking sports world is talking about Colorado.
Not me.
Sorry, I was talking about him before when everyone said they were going to suck, and now everyone's like, "Oh, does she like him?" Like the whole world is like, watch a book, watch a show, read a book.
Read a book is a very funny thing to say in any context. Is Oregon State a legit playoff team? They're on the back end of the playoff contenders, but if TCU made the playoff last year, I think Oregon State's better than TCU was.
I had to put this up. Chris Cascio has commented this legitimately 150 times.
All right. Talk about a guy that doesn't get pussy. UNC Minnesota and Minnesota defense against Drake May. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Good luck. Shout out to the NSA Reference crew. This has been awesome. I assume you mean me more than. First of all, thanks to Jack for running this. Thoughts on Devin Leary? I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, but he looked bad the other day.
Like, he's one of the guys that I'm like, I was really hyping up him and Brennan Armstrong. I'm really not impressed with him so far. Like,
Kentucky
it's early.
Looked like garbage against Eastern Kentucky, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Will USC make the playoffs? I believe Kayce has them in there. I do not have them in there.
Well, I had them in there, and then I removed them.
Oh, you can just do that whenever you want?
I mean, you did it a ton of times. I actually removed them to put Texas in there, and that was before last week.
I have a playoff with everybody in there. So, all right. Jack, you got to go do your work. I think this was fun. I think it's a great idea. I think this is good.
I like it.
Monday's live from now on, probably at this time, unless something comes up. Otherwise, we're gonna get out of here. Go watch
the video.
Yeah, like the video, share it.
If you're watching on replay, leave a comment.
Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thank you.
And no, I don't have
pants on.
I don't. Listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Anytime that we're doing this, I'm wearing nothing but this. Like, why would I?
Okay.
Chat wants to know.
All right, horn
dogs.
Enjoy that. That's unnecessary roughness.
Bye, guys.